Yo, Chef Beats, another tutorial. Today I'm going to be going over how to make your drums bang. I'm going to help you make your drums more immersive, how to make different parts of your drums stick out in the track. All the drums I'm going to be using are located on my website in my drum kits. They're free, go download them. Links in the bio, chefcbeats.com. Yeah, so stay tuned. All right, so if you haven't already gone to my website, go download the drum kit right now. They're good drum kits and they're free, so might as well. So here's a beat I made. I'll let you listen to it, and then I'll show you what I did, and then I'll also show you what a lot of people are doing wrong when they're doing their drums to try to make them sound louder, you know. Simple drum pattern. I'll start off with the clap. So what a lot of people will do is they'll just try to make the velocity higher for their instruments, and I'm not saying that's necessarily wrong. I do it sometimes still. I do it actually every time with the kick and the 808, but sometimes I'll do it with the clap and the snare. But what I would rather do is layer the sounds. And when I layer the sounds, you want to give each sound space to cut through the mix. So you don't want all your sounds either A, playing in the same frequency, especially in the low end, or B, on the same time interval if they are in the same frequency. If you don't want to take certain frequencies out, then what I would suggest, like for the clap, for example, I shifted it so it's playing on the same exact time interval as the snare is, but it's playing just a bit delayed, so you can really hear the tail end of the clap. What I'll also do is I'll come in here, and what I did here is I took a free parametric EQ and I just boosted 39 hertz here, or 3511 hertz, 39%. And I just took some of this low end out, steep 6, I believe. Yeah, and a high pass filter on this, and I just brought it to about, I'll keep it at 600 hertz. It's a good spot to keep it. But what you can do, say you you don't want to do the time shift and you really want to hear both the clap and the snare play at the same time, but they're kind of competing for space. What I'll do sometimes is, say I boosted it right here on the clap. If I go to the snare, sometimes I'll bring it down here and then raise maybe this, or I'll raise, let's see, just to give it more room, and then I'll come back to the clap, and where I boost it here on the snare, I'll kind of just bring it down, not too much, but just enough so they're not competing for space. I'll actually go ahead and open up. Actually, I'll leave that for another video. I was gonna bring up the FabFilter Pro Q too, but that's a whole nother tutorial in itself, honestly. There's so much that plugin has to offer. I love it. So, what I did with the clap, I routed it to a send channel, and on that send channel, I have a reverb, and with that reverb, you can see right here, it's not on right now, but I lowered it just less than 50%, like 37%. And the reason I did this was because when you have like a reverb on the actual instrument, like the clap, for example, I feel like it takes away from the sound. So let me go ahead and actually I already had it on here for the tutorial. So yeah, it's right here, but it needs to be, no, that's fine. Okay, that's why. All right, so I'll turn this on. I'll turn this off. So right now it's playing through the actual sound, so you can listen to the difference. Now listen to that compared to this. That sounds a lot better, doesn't it? So that's why I like side or send channels. I'll also do that sometimes with the hi-hats. I'll bring it down a little bit lower than the clap. And then the snare, or no, we already went over the snare. The open hat. So the open hats are fun. They're fun. If you go to your open hat, so what I like to do is you got to remember that when you're laying out your drums, they're instruments, and you want to emulate them as real as you can. You want them to sound like someone's playing them. You don't want them to sound like someone made it on a computer. So what I like to do, and there's a number of different ways you can get to that, and I'll show you a couple of them. So right here, I just you don't want to make the velocities of different notes too versatile. You want to just make it little adjustments, because the little adjustments, they add up. And I do this for the hi-hats to kind of give it a push-pull kind of groove. I'll just play. And you can listen that they're panned separately. So I have the panning, just slight changes, on the panning, so it sounds like someone's hitting it with, two different. Doesn't sound like, computer made it. And I'll do that sometimes with the hi-hats too, but very, very subtle changes, not anything too dramatic. Because if you start getting crazy with the panning on the hi-hats, that's when your beat just gets too crazy. And a lot of people forget that, rappers, they need space to rap. I feel like us producers get so engulfed in how much you can do with all the synths and all the melodies and whatnot, that you really forget that who you're making it for is the rapper, and the rapper needs they need space. Which I'll add, the rappers, when they're rapping, the frequency they're rapping in is from about here to about here. Unless they have a really deep voice, then maybe it's like, more around right here. But it's really right here. And if you have a bunch of shit going on right here, I'm telling you, your beats aren't going to sell, because rappers like shit that they can spit on. that's easy to spit on. If you have a million different things going on, they're not even gonna know where to spit. Uh, so yeah, I'm trying to think if I missed anything. I think that's it. Well, for the clap, I was gonna say a lot of people will go like this. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Don't just raise unnecessary frequencies. Really, just subtle changes in the EQ goes a long way. Um, so yeah, that's it. Or no, I'll show you how to sidechain the kick to the 808. So what I do with the kick every single time, some people will they'll use the method that I showed you for the clap and the snare on the kick and the 808. Again, that's not the wrong way to do it, but you got to watch out in the low end a lot more than the high end about muddiness and frequencies overlapping, because that'll just make your beat sound like complete trash. Even though little pump type beeps sound muddy as hell, and apparently that's hot trash. So that's what you're making, then that doesn't apply to you. But for the sake of what we're doing, and every other rapper out there who doesn't like shitty muddy beats, you want to take your kick, and what I did is I just right click sidechain to this track. I brought it up to 22, and then 21, close enough. But then I went on the 808, and you gotta click compressor, right click, click on the kick, bring the threshold down to about, anywhere from 15 to like 13.5 dB. Just put it 14.8, and then the ratio right around here, 2.1 is a good rule of thumb. Release, it really depends on your kick. I play around with it. I usually keep mine between 30 to like pretty much 30 to like 65, honestly, and then maybe even a little bit above, but I'll just play around with it. So yeah, play around with the kick. I always sidechain my kick, always, 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 always. I can't stand that muddy bullshit. So if you're sending me beats and your kick isn't sidechained to your 808, just don't bother. So yeah, that's the conclusion of the tutorial. I'll probably make another one because I always leave out a few things that I wanted to get in, but running out of time. So yeah, stay tuned for the next one.